Good morning, Knicks Nation. Today is Sunday. It is the 20th day of March, 2022. I hope that you are all enjoying your weekend today. I hope that you're all safe, your family is safe, and that your family is healthy today. Blessings upon those that even today are working in the healthcare field and the first responders that are trying, even right now, to save human lives. Blessings upon those that pick up garbage and those that make deliveries to keep streets, sidewalks, highways clean and work for our convenience we sometimes take for granted. And double blessings on the men and women trying to recover, deliver, rescue children, toddlers, teenagers, as well as adults, like was done in Orlando, Florida last week now, from the clutches of child molestation, pedophilia, pornography and child pornography, prostitution, child prostitution, sex slavery, human trafficking, and double curses on the perpetrators, like those 108 people they busted in Florida. Double curses on them and all like them, the perpetrators, the perverts, the profiteers who traffic in human misery. Finally, blessings upon the homeless. Nearly 600,000 men, women, and children, even today on the streets of the United States of America, and millions around the world. Similar or worse conditions, blessings upon them, for theirs is the kingdom. There was a basketball game Friday night. The New York Knicks won. They beat the Washington Wizards in a very close game, 100-97. And first let's start with the positives. Obviously, the first positive is they won. The Knicks have won, actually, I think 5 of their last 7 games. So they're doing pretty good over the last 7 games. Of course, they are battling for the last play-in spot. Now, some people might say they're wasting time because they could be developing youth, but we'll save that for the negative. Right now, on the positive, the Knicks won this game, as I see it, by out-rebounding by a large margin the Washington Wizards. They out-rebounded the Wizards 60-38. And on the offensive glass, 19-3. That's how you win in the NBA sometimes. When you out-rebounding a team by large margins like that, that's Tom Thibodeau basketball. They kept the Wizards under 100 points. In the NBA, that's top-notch defense. Thing about Julius Randle. We can list all of his weaknesses. To me, the biggest weakness is his attitude and his lack of basketball IQ. But one thing about the dude, you gotta admit, he built like a brick doo-doo house, man. I mean, boy is strong. Like breaking his leg in his rookie year was like an anomaly because he's indestructible, man. He's like Thanos, and he had 17 boards. Now, he only had 1 offensive board, but them defensive boards to allow them to hold the team to 1 shot. That's what I used to love about Marcus Camby. He was a defensive board specialist so that, you get 1 shot and then he's swooping up he's vacuuming up that rebound and that's all you get. With the limiting the number of possessions like that is big time. And of course, he ended up with 18. Low scoring. I mean, game was low scoring. Knicks only scored 100. But they had the blessing is they had 6 players in double figures. You see, one of the hallmarks I like to see of a good team and what you'll see in really good teams, especially playoff teams that make runs, get out the first round, second round, go to the conference final. What you're going to see, everybody eats. Okay. You're going to see high levels of defense on top teams, period. And everybody eats. And the sign that everybody's eating is you get 5 or 6 or 7 players in double figures. That means everybody's eating. They had 18 assists, which is very low, which is amazing given that they had 6 players in double figures. But they were shooting, they didn't shoot that great from the field, actually. They shot 34%. So it is amazing that they had that many players in double figures. But, Julius, RJ had 18. Actually, they shot terribly. Julius was 6 for 22. RJ was 6 for 22. But Mitch Rob, of course, 6 for 10. 10 offensive rebounds. So you got guys that are great rebounders that are specialized defensive rebounds, offensive rebounds, that are really great rebounders, like your Elvin Hayes. Some of y'all remember the Big E. Dennis Rodman, one of the greatest rebounders ever. Charles Barkley. They will get rebounds on both sides of the ball. You know, that's like an offensive player that you like to play defense and offense, right? Or a 3-level scorer that does multiple things. Well, the great rebounders, they will get rebounds on both sides of the ball. Rodman would do it. To me, Rodman, of all the guys, I mean, aside from Wilt Chamberlain and Bill Russell, who I only saw at the end of their careers. But Dennis Rodman, you know, you need a rebound, he's going to get it. You know, and it didn't matter if Shaq was there. It didn't matter who was there. That's a great rebound. Say what you want about Dennis Rodman, but to me, he was one of the greatest rebounders the NBA has ever seen. And he's like the poster child for great rebounders. Well, Mitch Robb is an offensive. Then you got guys that are specialists. Mitch Robb is an offensive rebound in terror. And then, of course, we talked about Julius being the defensive rebound guy. Now, that's not saying either of them can't get the other side. I'm just saying in general terms, so don't get carried away. But the thing is that it's the offensive side, to me, that's just important. Like, on the defensive side, you're holding them to one possession. You get that one possession, you get the defensive rebound, that's it, you're done. The offensive side gives you more possessions, right? So more offensive rebounds you get, the more possessions you get, more chance you get to hit a shot. And in the NBA, you give an NBA team more than once or twice in a possession, they're going to hit the shot generally, right? And that's big time. So, you know, Mitch Robb with 10, and he's like I know he's top 3 in the NBA in offensive rebounding. That's big time. That's playoff. That's championship stuff right there. When you can get your team extra possessions because you're dominating the offensive board. Not only that, you know, people, you know, get carried away where he should be a 3-point shooter. I think that's pretty stupid. You make a player play to his strengths, what his strengths are. And you play to your strengths. And if you do to your strengths at an elite level, you're going to help your team tremendously. Okay. So with that in mind, Mitchell Robinson being a top 3 offensive rebounder, what that does is it puts pressure. What Thibs always says, it puts pressure on the rim. What does that mean? That means that when we're on offense, if you don't watch Mitchell Robinson, he's going to get every miss. And more than likely, if you don't put a body on him, he's going to flush it on you. And he's long and athletic, so you got to put 2 bodies on him. And if you do that, that's going to leave somebody open to get a better shot and give you a more higher percentage chance of hitting a basket. That's what a Mitchell Robinson will do for you as an elite offensive rebounder. And so that was played out on Friday night. And of course, he scored 15 double figures. Burks was 3 of 6, 4 of 6 from the free throw line, 2 of 3. You know, he was all right. 5 boards. You know, he had 2 assists, 1 steal. Burks was okay. You know, Randall, of course, had 4 turnovers. That's Randall. And the Knicks, though, as a team only had 12, which is pretty good for a game. You can get 12 or less. You know, you get in that range, you're doing very well, as far as ball control. And so they did very well. Overall, it was a win. So, you know, you can't complain. On the bench, though, the bench was weak. Now what? Look, IQ got 3 of 7 from the field, 4 rebounds, 5 assists, and 1 steal. It was okay, right? I'm not saying he's bad, but I'm still telling you he's not a point guard. I don't care how everybody tries to fit him as a point guard. Even though Thibs was talking about his positionless, that's bullcrap. You need, in the NBA, to win a championship, a point guard. Somebody who's controlling, setting up, guarding the point of attack. You want to win a championship? You can't name me no point guard that's in a championship team that doesn't do that. They guard the point of attack. They control the tempo. They set the offense up. You could try to mask it, but you're only getting but so far. Okay? Which brings me to the negative side. Now, it is apparent, and I'm using Deuce McBride as a test, a litmus test. You know, like if you're in science, you use these little strips to test certain chemicals be in there. Maybe you don't know. But anyway, it's a litmus test. I'm using him as a litmus test because the plain truth is whenever he's played more than 20 minutes, the Knicks usually win and usually win big. It wasn't like you had close games when Deuce is playing 20 minutes. They're 7-2 when he plays 20 minutes or more, right? Maybe 8-2. Even 7-2, 8-2. But usually they're blowing out teams by 20, 30 when you got him in the lineup. So they didn't have him in the lineup now. They didn't even play him 1 minute. So why? Well, Grimes was back in the lineup. Grimes was 1 of 5. He's just coming back. 5 points, 5 boards. He's going to be 6 boards. He's going to be that type of all-around player. So yeah, you got to put Grimes in the lineup. And he's not taking Burks off the lineup. That's the big thing right there. So now you can see something that's very obvious. I think it's obvious to me. It should be obvious to you. Thibs is assured. Now I know. I wasn't, so it was Fisher said it, this dude Fisher, or whoever he's writing for, Bleacher Report or whatever. He said, yeah, Thibs is assured of his job next year. I don't necessarily believe those cats all the time. I need more proof, but now I got the proof. He's very assured that he's coming back next year. The way he's playing this lineup, okay? So he played basically, I'm not even counting Toppin as being, Toppin played 9 minutes. To me, if you're not playing at least 10 minutes, you're not in the rotation. Toppin played 9. So he had an 8-man rotation. Why is he doing that? Thibs is very competitive. Like I said, he reminds me when I'm playing Monopoly. I'm known, I'll have $1. Everybody will have hotels. And I'm in the middle of the minefield and I won't give up until I lose the $1. And I usually will. And that's Thibs. Here he is in 11th place, tied for 11th. 5 games out of the 10th spot, right? And he's got, 14 games left? Has he got 14 games left? Yes, he's got 12 games left. 12 games left. And he's playing 8-man rotations of veterans all the way to the end. So he's going to do that until they are mathematically eliminated. Which, unless they run on a streak, which I can guarantee you is not going to happen when he's running this rotation. It's not going to happen. They were up pretty good again against the Wizards. And because of his rotations, the Wizards came back. And they brought it to the last 40 seconds. Okay. Caldwell Pope was guarded well by RJ. That defensive stance right there, that sealed it, right? But that's what they needed to seal it, whereby we understand when they're playing, when Deuce plays more than 20 minutes, if they win, they're winning big. They don't have those type of comebacks. And I would love to see Deuce and Grimes, in that back court doing stuff, but whatever. So, it is what it is. So today they got Utah with Donovan Mitchell. And we're going to see what happens at the Garden. Utah is in a fight for playoff position in the West. So they taking these games very seriously. Okay. So we're going to see what happens. But if I can guarantee you, I told y'all before, as long as Thibodeau believes falsely that Alec Burke is his answer at point guard, we ain't going nowhere. I'm just telling you, I'm trying to be real. They barely beat Washington on Friday. No Bradley Beal now. Okay. They barely beat Washington on Friday, but I'm glad they won. But this is not going to bode well. So what's going to happen? If he continues, which he's going to now that he's assured of his job for next year, I'm going to tell you a couple of things going to happen here. He's going to continue to play this. They're going to be, eventually they'll be mathematically eliminated because what they got coming up, man, this is what the Knicks got coming up right now. This schedule is murderous. It's straight murderous, man. I mean, look, they just played Washington on Friday. That's like their easiest game. Cause look, they got at home against Utah, at home against Atlanta, who's also battling for the play-in. They're ahead of the Knicks by 5 games. They got at Charlotte, who's also battling, at Miami. Then they got at Detroit. You cannot take Detroit lightly. I was just talking about Sadiq Bey comparing. Remember, I was comparing Keenan Murray to Sadiq Bey. Sadiq the next night dropped 51. And then last night you had Jeremy Grant drop 40. I mean, don't sleep on Detroit. And then they're going now you got Cade Cunningham threatening triple doubles all the time. Don't sleep on Detroit. So you got at Detroit. So you got Utah, Atlanta, at Charlotte, at Miami, at Detroit, Chicago, Charlotte again, Cleveland. And look, and these games, so today they playing Utah. Tuesday, they playing at the Garden against Atlanta. Back to back, Wednesday at Charlotte, right? Friday at Miami. That's 4 games in 5 nights. Then they play next Sunday, two days later, at Detroit. Another back-to-back. At the 27th, Detroit. The 28th is Chicago. Then 2 days later, Charlotte. Then 2 days later, Cleveland. Back-to-back with Orlando. This ain't no joke. And this fool is playing an 8-man rotation. Alright. Alright. So, if he continues this ain't gonna last long. It ain't. Cause he gonna be mathematically eliminated. Then we're gonna see Deuce, right? So, that's the first thing gonna happen. Let me tell you the second thing gonna happen. I think it was a week ago, I said the next move is Leon's. That's coming in the summer. That's coming in the summer. And I loved, Ian Begley said some very interesting things. In the little 8-minute podcast he did, maybe it was 3 days ago, he did an 8-minute podcast, and he was somebody asked him about Deuce McBride, right? Somebody asked him about Deuce McBride. And he said, Tom Thibodeau loves Deuce McBride. And he said he pushed to draft him. But he said, and then he postulated, this is not a quote, but he postulated, maybe Deuce McBride, Tom sees something in practice that says he's not ready for the starting role yet. Okay, fine. But how you going to get ready when you're getting 0 minutes? I don't know. But anyway, you're going to see some changes. So now Thibodeau is focused on these veterans to the detriment of the development of this kid. But that's okay. I think Leon's going to take care of this business over the summer. Cause like the Burks, who else? You got Burks, you got Nerlens Noel. Let me see here. You got Burks, you got Nerlens Noel. Those are expiring. Burks and Noel are expiring contracts, and Burks is not having the greatest season, despite what Tom thinks. He's not having the greatest season this year. Okay. So I can see him and Noel being moved. They may have to even attach something to get Noel out of here because he's just, when he plays, he's good, but when does he play? He's like a Jaguar. He's in the shop most of the time. When he runs on the road, it's sweet, but it's so temperamental, it'll cost you. So I think Nerlens Noel and Burks will be out. That'll leave Evan Fournier. Now, Evan Fournier is an attractive trade piece because he's obviously shooting the ball very well. That looks very well to other teams will look at that and say, man, this guy's shooting the ball. Can we get him on our team? Everybody's looking for shooters, including the Knicks. But we got Quentin Grimes, right? So I don't know what they're going to do. But again, Ian said something in that same pocket very interesting. Somebody asked him if a power forward was a high-level power forward was available in the draft, would the Knicks draft him in spite of having Julius Randle and Obi Toppin? Or would they trade that for a better current player, like an upgrade, a veteran, right? An upgrade. And he said, no, they trade that piece. He said, in his opinion, they trade that piece because he didn't even consider that they might trade Julius Randle or Obi. He's saying they'll keep both of them and they'll trade the pick. Now, as much as I believe in everything Ian says, I really trust what he says. I have a hard time believing that if the Knicks lucked out, and I mean lucked out, like in other words, they somehow got in a position where they would be able to draft a Jabari Smith Jr. or a Paolo Banchero. I have a hard time thinking they're going to pass that up. I really do. I could see them passing up a Keenan Murray. I could see them doing that because Murray is good, but he's really good. Like I said, he's Sadiq Bey, but I can't see them. They will trade that one. But are you telling me Jabari Smith is in your face at number 1 or 2 and you not going to pick him? I'm sorry. I'm not buying that. I'm not buying that. Somebody will get traded because you got to take him. If you get Jabari Smith, if you're lucky enough to get, cause the way the lottery works now, if you're in the top 10, you could be number 1 or 10 or it's really, really the luck of the draw. And I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm saying, but hypothetically, you're in a position where you're going to draft Jabari Smith or Paolo. Paolo is 6'10". He's Julius Randle, when Julius was 19, but got better IQ, handles the rock better, even though he turns it over too much, but he's young enough to learn, and he's not going to be in his 8th year doing that, right? And he's a 3-level scorer. 6'10". Julius is 6'8", 250. This kid is 6'10", 250. That's a big difference, y'all. And to be able to handle run breaks like that, I don't know. I don't see them passing that up. I could see them, even Ivory, I could see them, passing or trading on Ivy. Why? I know y'all love Ivy. I like him too. I have him second on my board, but I'm saying I could see them favoring the wings we already have, over him, right? I could see that happening, even though I may not agree with it. I'm just trying to tell y'all the real, what the Knicks would do. Okay. So, and some of y'all get it all personal. Why you hate Ivy? No, I don't hate him. Don't start tripping. I'm just telling you what I think the Knicks will do. He's second on my board. I got Jabari, then Ivy. Okay. And then I move up. Then I got Paolo. And then I got Keenan. That's my 4. And the Knicks can easily move up into that top 2. It can happen, right? We've seen it happen to us a number of times where we thought we was going to get number 1 pick and somebody that was supposed to be 8 pops up to 1. We've seen that. So I have a hard time believing, and I trust Ian, but I have a hard time believing they will pass on Jabari Smith Jr. I have a hard time believing they'll pass on Paolo Banchero out of Duke. I have a hard time believing that. I can see them passing on everybody else. I like AJ Griffin. We're going to talk about him, right? Tari Eason, after watching the LSU game against, who did they play against? Was it Gonzaga? No. They lost to somebody. I forgot who they lost to. But watching that game, a couple of things stuck out. Tari Eason, to me, is still a talent. I think he should stay in school one more year, though. And he would be a top 10 pick, maybe even top 5 next year. I did not know he was coming off the bench for LSU. And when he comes off the bench, there's a huge change in how they flow. I mean, he is a big impact player, but for some reason, his coach has him coming off the bench in his freshman year. So I can see him, he'll be like, there was a kid that Portland drafted a couple of years ago, and he was coming off the bench for, North Carolina. And now, they groomed him for 3 years, and this kid could play, but now he's hurt for the rest of the year. His name is, Nasir Little. He was like that, coming off the bench for North Carolina, but wasn't, quite ready, to play, but he came out anyway. He came out early, and the Portland Trailblazers really, groomed him, but he's out. He underwent surgery on his left shoulder. And so he's out for the year, but he's a player though. I mean, he was very raw. He wasn't as polished as Tari is right now. Tari is more polished than him, but Nasir Little was a very raw talent. He's like a mini Dennis Rodman. And this year he was one of their starters before he got hurt. And he's going to be back, and they're going to be a terror next year with him. He's a young cat too, but they groomed him for 3 years. I don't know if the Knicks have patience for that, but anyway, that's what they did. So, but Tari Eason probably should stay 1 more year in college. Him, Shaden Sharp should stay 1 more year. And actually Ty should stay 1 more year. All 3 of them should stay 1 more year in college and come back. Next year, they'd be that much really ready, But, as far as the Knicks, I could see them trading every other pick. I really can. Chet Holmgren even. They don't need him. He's too much. Did you see what Durant did to him, over the weekend? I mean, his team won, but he couldn't handle Durant or their other center. He couldn't handle none of them, and those are not NBA. See, some of y'all get carried away and you see a college dude go off and he might be good, but y'all thinking, oh, he's better than the guy in the NBA. Stop it. This is the league, y'all. This ain't college. This is the league. Okay. Come on. Don't get carried away. Every center that's coming in the NBA going to take at least a year of trying to get over foul trouble. And sometimes 2 years. That's just how it is. Okay. This is how it is. So you don't get carried away with some of these guys. Okay. Wiseman to me is better than both of them, and he still ain't played. Okay. So I'm trying to tell you, it takes time, especially at the 5 spot. And I don't feel like waiting for another rookie to wait 3 years. We don't waste it. If we're going to trade Richard Robinson and let him walk, you wait 4 years after you done developed him. Anyway, that's making me sick. But anyway, we ain't got time or players or talent or money to waste like that. All right. So no, but Duran and that other cat from Memphis, They were eating this boy alive. No, I would not draft him in the top 4. I'm sorry. I don't want him. Okay? I don't want Hunger. Don't want him. But I can't see the Knicks passing. If they're in a position to get Jabari Smith Jr. or Paolo Banchero, I can't see them passing on that. I just can't. That would be stupid. They would have to pick. They have to pick them 2 cats. Those 2 cats to me right now are head and shoulders above everybody else in this draft. Both of them. Okay. You got Ivy. Jalen Ivy's good. Like I said, he's second on my list. I love Griffin. The kid Griffin is good too. Griffin, we're going to do a video on him, but he's what Justice Winslow could have been if Justice Winslow was available. Justice Winslow been hurt since he came in the league. Never been healthy since he came in the league. But the talent that he had coming out of Duke, they won a championship with him. All around talent, utility play, can play multiple positions, guard multiple positions. That's AJ Griffin. AJ Griffin, if he comes out, he's going to be pretty good. Not right away because he's 18, but dang, that kid, I like him too. But the Knicks could pass on him or trade him. They would trade Ivy too. They would not trade. No way. Jabari Smith. We're talking about if they come up against a 4. It's Jabari Smith, Paolo Banchero. If they get an opportunity to draft one of those cats, they're going to do that. I'm telling you, they're pulling that trigger. And somebody getting traded. We'll see what happens. But that's what they're saying. This summer, you're going to see them move, at least Burks and Noah. You're going to see them move. Okay, those cats are moving. As far as Evan Fournier, I don't know. He's shooting the ball well. He is. He's shooting the ball well. I can't say he's not. He's shooting the ball very well. Very well. Defense is suspect, as we know. But apparently, if you put him in the right lineup, he'll be adequate. He's not a train wreck, although he does allow too many matador defensive plays. He's a scorer. He can really shoot the ball pretty well sometimes. And then he'll be on a 2-year deal after this season's over. His deal is now 2 years. See, everybody was talking about, he's got 4 years, $78 million because they want to hype the negative. He's on a 3-year, $54 million deal. That's what Evan Fournier's on. The 4th year is a team option. And if you know anything about the Don, he is not going to exercise it. Okay. So he's basically on a 3-year, $54 million deal. We're coming off the 1st year now. He's got 2 years, $36 million left on his contract. That could be moved. Okay. But the Knicks might choose to keep him because he's a shooter. So we'll see what happens. But the other 2 guys, they're moving. Okay. And because of the lack of playing time, I could see Deuce playing Summer League this year and killing. Deuce going to kill in Summer League this year. All right. With whoever rookies they draft. IQ's not playing Summer League. I don't think Obi's going to play Summer League this year. But Deuce is. Usually a rookie year guy unless he plays a lot of minutes. But even then, they'll play Summer League the next year. So Deuce going to play Summer League and he's going to kill it. And then we'll see what happens in training camp. But as much as I can't stand some of the dinosaur moves of Thibodeau, I got to respect him. He loves the game. He's trying to win. Even he's assured of his job. I don't think it's smart to try to do 8-man rotations with this murderous schedule we got coming up right here. I don't see any other coach that would do that except Tom Thibodeau. No other coach. Not Eric Spoelstra, not Pops. None of them would do that. But this guy, he's going to do that. So we're going to see what happens. But I think you're going to see Deuce McBride 4 or 5 games at the end. Once they are mathematically eliminated, you're going to see Deuce McBride get some more minutes, which is going to be good for Deuce as far as his development. And you're going to see IQ and Deuce in the backcourt a lot more. But I'm glad they won Friday. It was a good win. I'm glad they kept the Washington Wizards under 100 points. The Knicks have been playing really good defense. And again, to me, the combination of Mitchell Robinson, Deuce McBride, and now you got Grimes coming back, but Grimes hasn't been there for most of this last 7 games. This Deuce McBride and Mitch, and putting them out there with whoever you're putting them out there with, that combination has been what's really driving this defense. So anyway, we're going to see what happens today. They play Utah. They play Utah and they've been keeping people under 100. I mean, I can't fault them. They've been keeping people under 100. Like they kept the Trailblazers to 98. Well, they gave up 110 to the Nets, but that's not too bad. That's the Nets. They gave up 118 to the Grizzlies. They held the Mavericks now to 77. That's Deuce McBride played 20 minutes in that game. Coincidence? I don't think so. They held the Clippers to 93. Okay. Anyway, we're going to see what happens. You can't keep playing these 8 men and think something. Again, it's, what do we call it, brother? What do we call it? What does that mean when you keep doing the same thing and expecting a different result? Insanity, right? Yeah, it's insanity. My man Thibs, though, right? All right, then. We're going to see the game tonight. I hope I got to contact my man Jay Ellis, and maybe I'll be on, with him tonight after the game. It's a late game. You see, the reason I haven't been on Jay Ellis a lot recently is because when the games. If it's on Wednesday night, I can't do it. If it's on Friday night, I can't do it. And we've had a few games like that. If it's too late on Sunday, I really can't do it. Because I got to go to work the next day, I love the Knicks channel. I love the Knicks, but a boy got to do his regular day job and get paid. You see what I'm saying? So, but I'll see what happens, with that. But anyway, y'all enjoy the rest of the weekend. Enjoy this Knicks game. Don't be too disappointed at what may happen today, but enjoy. Sure.